Welcome to Storyflix. In this video, we will explain Romance Full of Life. This movie tells the story of an unemployed college grad dumped by his girlfriend, who does not give him any explanation. He then follows a strange drug experiment until finally, his appearance changes from a geeky man to a smart man and good at martial arts. Will his new look get him his girlfriend back? Let's find out in Romance Full of Life. Romance Full of Life begins by showing Noryangjin, a city visited by many young people who want to study and achieve their dreams. But in reality, this city is like hell for young people. They are forced to sacrifice their youth by continuing to study hard, otherwise, they will be eliminated. In a mini market, a geeky young man named Song is serving his female customers friendly. He was so friendly that it made the female customer uncomfortable. Moreover, he gave very detailed information on a product. Because of that, his boss, who was fierce and super stingy, scolded him in front of the customers. Instead of paying attention to the boss, Song fantasizes that, if he has a lot of money, he can punch his boss in the face until his nose bleeds. However, in reality, his boss was twisting his neck until he was having trouble breathing. To calm down and vent his frustration, Song cursed in a park. After calming down a bit, he checked the announcement whether he passed the police selection exam or not. Unfortunately, his registration number was not listed in the list of those who passed the selection exam. He felt very disappointed in himself. Moments later, a young man named Ji-Sob was visiting Song's boarding room. Ji-Sob found Song sitting quietly with his head down. He tries to comfort him, saying that he also failed to pass the police academy entrance examination. Song tearfully explains to Ji-Sob that he is sad, not because he failed to enter the police academy, but because his girlfriend, So-ra, just dumped him. Song's misfortune did not stop there. When he returned to his room, his belongings were lying in the corridor. He had been evicted after 2 months in arrears on his rent. Confused and having no money at all, he had no other choice but to go to the convenience store, where he worked and sleep there. His boss kicked him in the leg in the morning, while he was still asleep. Worse yet, his boss fired him right away. Not even his wages were paid. In the afternoon, Song meets with Ji-Sob and discusses his bad luck. Then, he opened his cell phone and looked through the job advertisements. Accidentally, he found a vacancy with fairly high pay. Even better, he only had to work for 3 days and 2 nights. He screams with joy and immediately goes to apply for the job. It turned out that the job he was applying for was for Experiment Full of Life, a clinical trial to test a new drug. Pharmaceutical companies need people to test a drug. So it's not just Song who is interested, many applicants are also queuing for the job. At the hospital, Song began to undergo a selection process, including body weight measurements and blood tests. After 3 days in the hospital, where he was only told to sit, eat, take medicine and remain silent, Song and the other applicants were allowed to go home. They also receive wages for their work. However, when Song is standing outside the hospital, he suddenly feels so dizzy that he must sit down to calm himself down. He took off his glasses and saw a blue light flash briefly in his eyes. After a while, he recovered and the headache disappeared. Even though he was suspicious, he ignored it and immediately left the hospital. Next, he visits So-ra, even though he doesn't speak at all in front of her. After leaving her, Song meets Ji-Sob at a restaurant to discuss about So-ra. Ji-Sob suspects that Song was dumped because So-ra was close to a policeman named Gong-mu. That night, Song returns to his boarding room and pays all the arrears for his room rent. He looks happy because he can return to his old room again. But suddenly, sadness hits him after remembering why So-ra broke up with him. That night, when he was asleep, he suddenly felt a tremendous fever. His fever even made him shiver under his blanket. He went to the pharmacy the following day to buy a fever reliever. While walking home, Song suddenly felt extraordinary dizziness again like he had felt after being discharged from the hospital before. The headache made him unable to concentrate to the point that a car almost hit him. However, a blue light appeared in his eyes and on reflex, he was able to jump so high over the car's roof that he avoided a collision. The next strange thing happened when he got to his room. Suddenly his vision became blurry. Then he took off his glasses and realized that he could see clearly without them. In the afternoon, Song visits the hospital for a checkup. But the doctor told him that he was fine. The doctor only advised him to come back to see him if he felt pain again. After returning from the hospital, In-song met Ji-sub and they went to play billiards. In-song, who had never played billiard before, suddenly became very proficient in the game. The people there were amazed at his skills. One day, as she is about to leave her boarding room, So-ra sees a plastic wrap containing food hanging on the door. But because she was in a hurry, she didn't heed it. She was in a hurry because she got a side job call. Just as she left, she met Gong-moo, who was on patrol. Gong-moo offers a ride to drop So-ra off. Without thinking, she accepted the offer and got on the motorbike. In-song sees all that from a distance. His heart is burning with jealousy. He then runs after So-ra and, miraculously, his speed increases greatly and he can even jump over a pile of garbage without falling. He kept running until he was on the side of the road and then he shouted angrily, which made So-ra turn to the side. But because he was not focused while running, he accidentally hit an iron pole. So-ra asks Gong-moo to stop the motorbike because she is worried and wants to check on In-song. However, they had a big fight on the roadside, witnessed by Gong-moo and the people passing by. In-song accuses So-ra of having an affair with Gong-moo. On the other hand, So-ra denies the accusations. She kicks In-song before walking away from him. After the incident, In-song revisits the minimarket where he used to work to collect his unpaid wages from his boss. There was an argument between them because his boss refused to pay his wages. However, a policeman helped In-song to get his wages. After that, In-song went to the salon and changed his haircut. He even went to the boutique and changed the way he dressed. Many girls were amazed by his new appearance, which made him look handsome. While crossing the bridge, he heard a woman under the bridge being harassed by a group of men. He immediately jumped off the bridge and landed perfectly in front of the men. Disputes are unavoidable. But now he has excellent martial arts skills. Even though he was beaten, he could beat them until they finally ran away. The woman he helped became fascinated by In-song. The woman, whose name is Tae-yi, repeatedly thanks him for saving her from danger. The next day, while on campus, In-song meets Ji-sub and Tae-yi. It turns out, Ji-sub likes Tae-yi, where Tae-yi, the most beautiful girl on campus who is also the daughter of a rich man. To thank In-song, Tae-yi treats him and Ji-sub to a restaurant. After that, the three of them spent time together. And when night falls, In-song takes Tae-yi home. And this is when she confesses her feelings to In-song. However, In-song didn't answer right away. He just smiled. One day, when In-song and Tae-yi are at a convenience store, they run into So-ra. Still annoyed with So-ra, In-song takes revenge by pretending to be intimate with Tae-yi. Unable to stand his behavior, So-ra leaves the convenience store after shopping. She still hasn't told In-song that she was forced to cut him off because of the circumstances. She had to pay for college herself, so she had to look for odd jobs, which caused her grades to drop drastically. When So-ra arrives at the apartment, she sees Gong-moo secretly hooking food on the doorknob of her room. So-ra, who saw all this, was surprised because she had thought that the person who gave her food was In-song. Actually, Gong-moo has liked So-ra for a long time. Even he has often watched her since she was still dating In-song. Gong-moo has never expressed his love for So-ra because at that time she was still in a relationship with In-song. While So-ra and In-song are busy dating, Gong-moo decides to stay away from them and focus on his exams to get into the police academy. And after the struggles he went through, he was finally able to pass the test. On the other hand, In-song gets a phone call from his mother telling him about their family's financial condition was not good, so she asked In-song to send money. The next day, In-song is eating on campus, daydreaming. In-song is still thinking of ways to earn money to help his father and mother. Shortly after, an advertisement for a paid quiz competition show appeared on television. Seeing this, he immediately intends to register for the quiz competition event. In addition, he also still has super intelligence that makes him memorize book material quickly due to the drug experiment he participated in before. So he feels confident that he will win the quiz competition. The next day, In-song came to the TV station that broadcasted the program to take part in the selection of participants for the quiz competition. All participants will be tested with several written tests that have been prepared by the producers of the event. When In-song got the question sheet from the written test, he smiled because he felt that the questions in the test were quite easy. After the quiz competition ended, In-song finally won first place and was able to take home 5 million won. The next day, In-song arrived at his parents' house and immediately gave his parents some of the money he had won yesterday. In the middle of their conversation, In-song's mother asks why So-ra didn't come with him. Even though So-ra always visits In-song's parents' house from time to time. In-song chooses to remain silent and doesn't talk about his relationship with So-ra, which has ended. Time passes quickly. Now In-song has to return to Noryangjin City. Shortly after, he hears a strange sound coming from So-ra's room. He finds So-ra sick and unconscious in her bedroom. In-song immediately ran to take So-ra to the hospital for treatment. He looks very worried about So-ra's health. While So-ra is being treated at the hospital, In-song goes to So-ra's workplace to replace her shift so that she doesn't get fired. When So-ra regains consciousness and recovers, she immediately comes to her workplace to catch up with In-song. That night, So-ra and In-song go home together to their apartment. On the way, So-ra promises to treat In-song to dinner as a thank you for taking her to the hospital and changing her shift. At this point, In-song and So-ra's relationship has improved again. Sometime later, In-song and So-ra meet Tae-yi and Gong-mo. They end up walking apart, In-song leaving with Tae-yi and So-ra leaving with Gong-mo. So-ra and In-song don't have dinner together. After seeing In-song leave with Tae-yi, So-ra looks sad and uninspired. That night, So-ra finally decides to start a relationship with Gong-mo. Gong-mo feels very happy because finally his love feelings have been reciprocated. On the other hand, In-song and Tae-yi are also having dinner. But actually In-song and So-ra still thinks about each other and don't look happy with their current partner. One day, In-song and So-ra both remember a promise they made when they were dating. Previously, they had promised that, if they separated and wanted to meet each other again, they would meet in a special place one day. It was a small park located on the outskirts of the city. That night, In-song and So-ra both walked to the park. Unexpectedly, they finally met in the park and decided to tell each other about the days they had gone through. That night, they both also ignored phone calls from their respective partners. When In-song and So-ra return to their apartment, they accidentally run into Tae-yi and Gong-mu. After seeing In-song and So-ra walking together, Tae-yi feels very disappointed and angry with In-song. What's more, In-song said that he still loves So-ra. Tae-yi, who looked annoyed, immediately slapped In-song and left him. After hearing all this, Gong-mu decides to leave So-ra. The next night, In-song gets a message from So-ra asking him to meet on the roof of their apartment. When In-song gets there, So-ra shyly says that she actually likes In-song too. Hearing that, In-song looked very happy, even though he tried to hide the smile on his face. Realizing that they love each other, In-song and So-ra decide to start dating again. That night, In-song kissed So-ra gently. Elsewhere, Tae-yi, who feels heartbroken, then approached every couple in the restaurant and complained about her feelings for them. She makes such a big fuss at the restaurant that the owner calls the police. Coincidentally, the policeman on duty that night was Gong-mu. After Gong-mu realizes that the drunken girl is Tae-yi, he immediately takes her to a quieter place and calms her down. Tae-yi, who still feels heartbroken, bursts into tears in front of Gong-mu. Seeing that, Gong-mu instinctively put his arm around Tae-yi and let her lean on his shoulder. On the other hand, In-song and So-ra is seen spending time together. That night, In-song suddenly has a fever and chills. He even had red freckles on his face. Realizing that this condition might be a side effect of the experimental drug, he immediately came to the hospital to ask the professor who had previously conducted experiments on him. The professor said that In-song's current condition was a side effect of his experimental drug. The professor offers a drug that can neutralize these side effects and return In-song to his original condition. That means all the advantages and intelligence that In-song currently has will also be lost if he takes the neutralizing drug. Hearing this, In-song decided not to take the neutralizing drug until he passed the police academy test that he will take. A few days later, it was time for the police academy exam that In-song would take. Throughout the exam, In-song looks in a lot of pain because the side effects of his experimental drug have become more severe. In the middle of the exam, he suddenly gets a call that So-ra had an accident and needs to be hospitalized. In-song was confused and didn't know what to do, but then he decided to leave the exam and ran to the hospital where So-ra was being treated. When he arrives at the hospital, In-song looks very worried about seeing So-ra's condition lying weak, even though his own health condition is deteriorating. When So-ra wakes up, In-song looks relieved. But a few seconds later he fell unconscious. After several days of treatment in the hospital, In-song finally recovered and woke up from his sleep. In-song immediately realized that he had been treated with a neutralizing drug. He feels a little disappointed that he has missed the exam to enter the police academy. In-song returns to his old self, glasses, and has a weak physical condition. He goes through his days with a lack of enthusiasm, but fortunately, So-ra will continue to support him and encourage him. The film closes with a scene where In-song has become a traffic guard for the children from the school where So-ra teaches, and then they go together to make their relationship more beautiful and colorful. The moral that can be taken from this film is love yourself and believe that we can be someone who can benefit the environment around us in many ways.